Liverpool's 2-1 defeat away to Crystal Palace was a defensive horror show, and it was a performance filled with regrets and what might have been for Arne Slot's Reds. Liverpool has hinted that it won't be pursuing Marc Guehi in the January transfer window, but after a defensive nightmare against Crystal Palace, it's difficult to imagine anyone taking the Reds at their word.
The England international didn't need a standout performance to confirm what was already clear. The Premier League champion missed an opportunity by not securing the 25-year-old centre-back this summer. Steve Parish eventually granted Oliver Glasner's wish and cancelled Guehi's transfer to Liverpool at the last minute on deadline day. However, had the Reds offered the magic number £40 million, $53.6 million, earlier in the window, Guehi would undoubtedly have been returning to Selhurst Park for the first time as an away player on Saturday. The great irony is that there's a compelling argument that Arne Slot's players, who were brought down to earth in southeast London following Eddie Nketiah's last-minute winner, actually needed Guehi's defensive prowess more than Alexander Isak's attacking thrust. While Hugo Ekitike was suspended this weekend, he has made a flying start on Merseyside, netting 5 goals, and it's been an almost flawless beginning for the informed Frenchman. At the other end of the pitch, they've looked vulnerable. Giovanni Leona's unfortunate ACL injury has left Liverpool critically short at the back, and if the club hadn't realized it before, this seemed to be the day that drove home just how much Slot's players needed Guehi.
The match had barely reached the 20-minute mark, and it wouldn't have been an overstatement to suggest that the Reds could have been trailing by 4 goals. This was a significant statement, especially considering the game had been temporarily halted due to a medical emergency in the crowd. Slot's Liverpool side appeared weary, while Crystal Palace seemed energized after a rare week of rest following the team's 2-1 victory at West Ham last weekend.
The biggest puzzle was how the Eagles only managed to lead 1-0 at halftime, given they had dominated Liverpool throughout the first half. If not for Alisson's superb reflexes, it would have been a complete first-half rout. Ibrahima Konate was central to Liverpool's vulnerability, and for anyone who has followed the Premier League champion this season, this wasn't the first time. It's well known that Real Madrid is showing interest ahead of his contract expiration next summer, but his performance decline in recent weeks has been dramatic. He was outsmarted by the shrewd Jean-Philippe Mateta, who tricked Konate into an early booking and dragged his fellow countrymen into a tough battle. Liverpool needs to take extra care of Virgil van Dijk because if he sustains an injury, there will be issues. On the other end, Guehi barely broke a sweat and looked top-notch. Despite Liverpool's star-studded forward line featuring Mohamed Salah and Florian Wirtz, the Reds appeared lackluster, devoid of both energy and chemistry. However, when Guehi was put to the test, his response was exactly what you'd expect. He remained cool and collected. Glasner's indispensable centre-back, who typically shies away from the limelight, would have been apprehensive about all the attention surrounding the match. Upon closer inspection, Guehi's performance was akin to a Rolls-Royce. He played a part in the opening goal, completed 19 out of his 21 passes, made 11 defensive contributions, and led Palace to a well-earned victory.
Guehi has been instrumental in Palace's record-equaling club record 18-game unbeaten run, and his display against Liverpool further demonstrated that the Reds made a rare transfer mistake in not securing his signature, a mistake they will undoubtedly rectify this winter.
Even at the final whistle, there was an opportunity for a post-match embrace with Van Dijk, but Guehi merely gave the Dutchman a light pat on the back and walked